Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, often reminded himself to stay grounded and to see every challenge as a test of his character. He would ask, "Is this within my control? If not, why am I giving it power over me?" This question, simple as it sounds, can shift your entire perspective. Imagine being caught in a frustrating situation, like someone treating you unfairly or plans falling apart. Your first instinct might be anger, resentment, or even despair. But what if you paused and asked, "Can I control this situation, or can I only control how I respond to it?" If the answer is no, and the situation is outside your control, you have two choices: resist it or accept it. Resistance only brings suffering. It's like clenching your fists in a downpour, trying to stop the rain. Acceptance, on the other hand, frees you. You cannot stop the rain, but you can find shelter. You can walk through it calmly, knowing it will pass. Life, too, is full of storms, events you can't change, people you can't control, outcomes you didn't expect. The Stoics teach us to focus our energy on what matters most: our responses, our actions, and our attitude. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It's not about giving up or resigning yourself to a difficult fate. It's about meeting challenges with courage and grace. Think of a tree in the middle of a storm. The winds may shake its branches, but its roots remain deep and unmovable. When you learn to accept what you can't control, you become like that tree, steady, calm, and grounded, no matter how strong the storm. But even as we accept what we cannot control, the Stoics remind us to take responsibility for what we can. Our habits, our thoughts, our choices, these are within our power. You might not be able to control the outcome of a job interview, but you can prepare to the best of your ability. You might not be able to change someone's opinion of you, but you can choose to treat them with kindness and integrity. You might not be able to stop life's inevitable hardships, but you can decide to face them with resilience and strength. Building resilience is one of the core lessons of Stoicism. Life will test you. It's a fact. The Stoics didn't shy away from this truth. Instead, they embraced it. They believed that hardship was not a curse but an opportunity to grow stronger. Like iron being forged in fire, our character is shaped by the challenges we face. What can I learn from this becomes a question you ask in times of difficulty. Each setback, each obstacle, is a chance to develop courage, patience, and wisdom. Think of someone who inspires you, perhaps a historical figure, a mentor, or even a loved one. What makes them strong? Is it that they lived a life without challenges? Or is it that they faced their trials with dignity and grace? The strongest people are not those who never fall. They are the ones who rise again, who adapt, who learn from their struggles and become better because of them. And as you face these challenges, another lesson emerges: the importance of gratitude. Gratitude is not just a fleeting feeling of appreciation. It is a practice, a way of looking at life through a lens of abundance rather than lack. The Stoics teach us to find joy in what we already have, no matter how small. Imagine waking up in the morning and taking a moment to feel thankful for the simple things: the warmth of your bed, the air in your lungs, the people you love. In a world that constantly pushes us to want more, gratitude anchors us in the present, reminding us of all we already possess. Gratitude can also be practiced in the face of hardship. It sounds strange, doesn't it? How can you feel thankful when life feels heavy? Yet even in those moments, there is something to hold on to. Perhaps it's the support of a friend, the lesson hidden within the struggle, or the strength you discover within yourself. Gratitude doesn't deny the pain, it transforms it. It reminds you that even in darkness, there is light. The Stoics also remind us to align our lives with our values. It's easy to get swept up in the noise of the world, chasing status, wealth, or approval, only to realize we've lost touch with what truly matters. To live in accordance with your values means to act with integrity, even when no one is watching. It means making choices that reflect who you want to be, not who the world expects you to be. This alignment brings peace because it creates a life of purpose and meaning. Imagine standing at the end of your life, looking back on the choices you made. What will matter most? The moments when you stayed true to yourself, when you chose kindness over anger, courage over fear, love over resentment. These are the moments that define you, and every day you have a chance to create them. The wisdom of Stoicism is not a distant philosophy meant for scholars or emperors. It is a practical guide for anyone seeking to live with more clarity, calm, and strength. It reminds us that while we cannot control the winds of life, we can adjust our sails. We can choose our thoughts, our actions, and our attitude. And in doing so, we become the calm in the storm. Have you ever noticed how your mind tends to dwell on past mistakes or future uncertainties, stealing the peace from the present moment? It's as though we carry invisible weights, ones that grow heavier with each regret or worry. The Stoics understood this tendency, and they offered a simple yet profound remedy. Focus only on the present. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, just now, because the present is the only moment we truly possess. Picture yourself holding a heavy bag in each hand. One represents the past, filled with memories of mistakes, missed chances, and unchangeable events. The other bag is the future, stuffed with worries about outcomes you cannot predict. As long as you grip these bags tightly, you are weighed down. But what happens when you let them go? You feel lighter, free, able to fully experience the now. That's what it means to live in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius often wrote to himself about this concept, reminding himself that the present is all we have. "Do not let the future disturb you," he said. "You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." This advice feels almost revolutionary in a world where our minds are constantly racing ahead or revisiting the past. Think about a time you were so deeply absorbed in a moment that everything else faded away. Maybe you were watching a sunset, laughing with a friend, or focused on a task you love. In those moments, you weren't worried about what happened yesterday or what might come tomorrow. You were fully present, and in that presence, you found peace. But how do we cultivate this ability to stay in the now, especially when life feels overwhelming? The Stoics suggest starting with awareness, catching yourself when your mind wanders, and gently pulling it back to the present. Let's say you're sitting at your desk, working on something important, but your thoughts keep drifting to a conversation that upset you earlier. Pause for a moment. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is thinking about this right now helpful, or is it pulling me away from what matters in this moment? This simple practice of awareness can transform your day. Instead of being swept away by distractions, you anchor yourself in the present, where your power lies. You can't undo the past or predict the future, but you can choose what you do now. And it's in these small moments of presence, these choices to focus on what's right in front of you, that life truly unfolds. The Stoics also teach us that much of our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. Imagine spilling a cup of coffee on your clothes before a meeting. The event itself is neutral. It's just coffee on fabric. But the story you tell yourself changes everything. This is a disaster, you might think. Why does everything go wrong for me? Suddenly, what could have been a minor inconvenience becomes a major source of frustration. But what if instead you paused and accepted the moment for what it was? Just coffee, just clothes, just life happening. You clean it up, change your shirt and move on. The event hasn't changed, but your response has. By refusing to add unnecessary stories, you save yourself from needless suffering. This mindset extends far beyond spilled coffee. It applies to all of life's unexpected challenges. When someone says something hurtful, for example, the Stoics remind us that their words only have power if we give them power. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple truth puts the control back in your hands. You can't stop people from speaking or life from surprising you, but you can decide how you respond. Let's take this idea further with the concept of reframing challenges. Life often feels like a series of obstacles, problems that stand in our way. But what if, instead of seeing these challenges as barriers, you saw them as opportunities? Marcus Aurelius expressed this beautifully when he said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Think about a time something didn't go as planned. Maybe you lost a job, faced rejection, or experienced a personal setback. In the moment, it felt like the end of the world, didn't it? But later, when you looked back, you realized that it wasn't an end, it was a redirection. That job loss pushed you to pursue something you loved. That rejection taught you resilience. That setback revealed strengths you didn't know you had. The obstacle became the way forward. This is one of Stoicism's most powerful lessons. Challenges are not curses, they are teachers. When you approach life with this mindset, every difficulty becomes an opportunity to grow. A missed opportunity is a chance to learn patience. A conflict is a chance to practice understanding. A failure is a chance to build resilience. Suddenly, the things you once feared become stepping stones on your path to becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. But this perspective doesn't come naturally. It must be cultivated. That's why the Stoics emphasize daily reflection and practice. They believed that by repeatedly applying these principles, you could transform your mind over time. Think of it like training a muscle. You don't become strong overnight, but with consistent effort, you build strength that serves you when life tests you. One way to begin is by keeping a Stoic journal. At the end of each day, sit down and ask yourself, what challenged me today? How did I respond? What could I have done differently? Write about your emotions, your struggles, and your victories. This simple act of reflection helps you gain insight into your patterns and grow from your experiences. Over time, you'll find yourself reacting less and reflecting more, turning challenges into lessons and frustrations into opportunities. And as you navigate this journey, another lesson comes to light: the importance of gratitude. Gratitude is a quiet yet powerful practice. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already abundant in your life. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that true happiness comes not from acquiring more, but from appreciating what you already have. Think about this for a moment. What would your life look like if you paused every day to appreciate its small, beautiful moments? The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of someone you love laughing, the food on your table, the roof over your head. These simple things, so easily overlooked, are the very foundation of joy. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to see the good alongside the bad. It means recognizing that, even in difficult times, there is always something to be thankful for. This shift in perspective is powerful. It softens the edges of hardship and makes life's blessings shine even brighter. So when you wake up tomorrow, take a moment to be still. Breathe. Notice the life flowing through you. Remind yourself that you can't control the past or predict the future, but you can embrace this moment fully. You can choose how you respond to challenges. You can find gratitude in the ordinary. You can navigate life's storms with calm and courage. The wisdom of Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a practice, a way of living that helps you find strength, clarity, and peace. By mastering your mind, you learn to rise above your emotions, respond with intention, and embrace life as it comes. And in that mastery, you discover a truth the Stoics knew well, that no matter what happens outside you, the real power lies within. Imagine waking up each morning and realizing that today is a blank page, an opportunity to choose how you will live, think, and respond. The Stoics believed deeply in this idea. Each day is a gift, a chance to practice the virtues of patience, wisdom, courage, and self-control. While we cannot know what challenges or surprises the day will bring, we can decide to meet them with the kind of mindset that transforms even the most difficult moments into opportunities for growth. Think of the first few minutes of your day. Many of us wake up and immediately reach for our phones, allowing the noise of the outside world, emails, news, social media, to dictate our mood. Before we've even had time to center ourselves, we're pulled in a dozen directions. But what if you paused instead? What if, before letting the world in, you took a moment to reflect on who you want to be today? The Stoics often began their mornings with a practice of intention setting, a moment of quiet reflection to prepare their minds for the day ahead. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, would remind himself that he would encounter people who were angry, selfish, or ignorant. Yet he also reminded himself that their actions were outside his control, and the only thing he could manage was his own response. Imagine the strength in that mindset, to expect challenges and yet resolve to meet them with calm and understanding. You can practice this too. In the quiet of the morning, ask yourself, who do I want to be today? How will I meet the challenges that come my way? What values will guide me? By taking just a few moments to set your intentions, you arm yourself with the clarity and focus needed to navigate the day with purpose. It's like laying the foundation for a house. Without it, the structure is weak and vulnerable to the winds of circumstance. But what about when the day doesn't go as planned? Because inevitably, life will test you. You might face an unexpected setback, a rude comment, or a moment of disappointment. The Stoics remind us to anticipate these moments. They call it premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. It's not about being pessimistic, it's about preparing yourself mentally so that you're not caught off guard. For example, before an important meeting or event, take a moment to consider what could go wrong. Maybe someone criticizes your work. Maybe things don't go as smoothly as you hoped. By imagining these possibilities ahead of time, you remove their power to shock or upset you. You're not wishing for them to happen, you're simply acknowledging that they could happen, and you're preparing to respond with calm and reason rather than frustration or anger. This isn't a call to panic. It's a call to live with intention, to wake up each morning and ask yourself, if today were my last day, how would I live? Who would I love? What would I let go of? These questions have the power to realign your priorities, to strip away what's unimportant, and to bring you back to the present, the only place where life truly exists. And when life feels overwhelming, when the weight of it all seems too heavy to bear, the Stoics offer us one final reminder: you are stronger than you think. Whatever challenge you're facing, you have faced difficulty before, and you survived it. You adapted, you grew, and you will again. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." How often have you worried about something that never came to pass? How many nights have you spent lying awake, imagining the worst, only to find that reality was far kinder than your fears? The mind, when left unchecked, has a way of creating suffering where there is none. But you are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You can train your mind to focus on what's real, to see challenges as opportunities, and to approach life with courage and clarity. The next time fear or worry begins to creep in, pause and ask yourself, is this happening now, or is it just a story I'm telling myself? By grounding yourself in the present, by remembering your strength, and by choosing to respond with intention rather than fear, you reclaim your peace. The world may be chaotic, but you don't have to be. You can remain steady, like a lighthouse in a storm, illuminating the path for yourself and for those around you. The wisdom of Stoicism is not about escaping life's difficulties. It's about meeting them head-on, armed with reason, courage, and a deep understanding of what you can and cannot control. It's about finding peace in the chaos, gratitude in the ordinary, and strength in the face of uncertainty. Each day is a new chance to practice these principles, to grow a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more at peace. And as you continue to walk this path, you will discover a simple, beautiful truth. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to stand firm and dance within the rain. It's like carrying an umbrella on a cloudy day. You don't expect it to rain, but if it does, you're ready. And when you're ready, you're steady. You remain in control of yourself no matter what the world throws your way. This practice extends beyond just anticipating challenges. It's also about reminding yourself of the impermanence of life. Everything we have, our possessions, relationships, even our own lives, exists for a finite time. The Stoics understood this deeply, and rather than fearing it, they used this truth to fuel their appreciation for life. Imagine holding a cup of your favorite tea or coffee. The warmth in your hands, the rich aroma, the first sip. It's perfect. But you know the cup won't last forever. At some point the drink will be finished. Does that make you enjoy it less? No. It makes you savor it more. You appreciate it fully because you know it's temporary. Life is no different. The Stoics practiced a form of reflection known as memento mori, which means remember that you will die. At first this may sound morbid, but it's one of the most life-affirming principles you can adopt. By remembering the brevity of life, you begin to focus on what truly matters. You stop wasting time on petty arguments, trivial worries, or distractions. You start showing up more fully for the people you love, for your work, and for yourself. Think about it. How often do we let moments slip by unnoticed because we assume we'll have an infinite number of them? How many times have we held back from saying, "I love you," or "I forgive you," because we thought there would be another chance? But life offers no guarantees. Today might be the only moment you have to express gratitude, to mend a broken relationship, to pursue something that sets your soul on fire. And yet the Stoics remind us that even in these moments, we are not powerless. We may not control what happens, but we control how we respond. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm. You cannot stop the wind from blowing or the rain from falling, but you can choose how you stand within it. Do you resist it, clenching your fists and shouting at the sky? Or do you stand tall, calm and resolute, knowing that storms eventually pass? This is the essence of Stoicism, to face life's trials with courage, to find stillness in the chaos, and to emerge stronger on the other side. One of the most remarkable examples of this Stoic strength comes from a man named James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy pilot who was captured during the Vietnam War and held as a prisoner for over 7 years. During this time, he was beaten, isolated, and starved. Yet he endured, drawing upon the principles of Stoicism to survive. He famously said, "I never lost faith in the end of the story." What did he mean by that? Stockdale understood the importance of hope, but he paired it with realism. He accepted his situation for what it was, harsh, brutal, and beyond his control. But within his mind, he remained free. He chose to focus on what he could control: his attitude, his dignity, and his will to survive. By accepting his reality without illusion or denial, he found the strength to endure it. His story is a powerful reminder that no matter how dark life becomes, we always have the ability to choose our response, and that choice can mean the difference between despair and resilience. But you don't need to be in a prison cell to apply this wisdom. Life presents us with smaller challenges every day, things that test our patience, our character, and our resolve. Maybe you're dealing with a difficult co-worker, a family conflict, or a personal failure. These moments, though they seem small, are opportunities to practice Stoicism. Each time you pause before reacting, each time you choose calm over anger and acceptance over frustration, you are strengthening your mind. You are building your fortress. The Stoics also teach us that hardship is not a punishment, it's a teacher. Every challenge we face carries a lesson if we're willing to see it. When you experience loss, it teaches you to value what you still have. When you fail, it teaches you to grow. When you are hurt, it teaches you compassion for others. Life, in its wisdom, uses hardship to shape us, to make us stronger and wiser. But we must be willing to listen. Imagine you're forging a sword. To make it strong, it must endure fire and hammering. It is through this process that the metal becomes something powerful, something unbreakable. The same is true for you. The challenges you face are not meant to break you. They are meant to forge you. Each time you face adversity with courage and grace, you emerge a little stronger, a little more resilient. And as you move through life, building your inner strength and learning from your trials, you begin to see that happiness is not found in the absence of hardship, but in how you approach it. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that true happiness comes not from external success or comfort, but from living a life of purpose, integrity, and inner peace. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be when life tests me? Do you want to be someone who crumbles at the first sign of difficulty, or someone who stands firm, calm, and unshaken? Each day, you have the chance to choose. You can let the world dictate your mood, or you can take control of your thoughts. You can see hardship as a curse, or you can see it as an opportunity to grow. The Stoics remind us that we are always in control of our inner world, even when the outer world feels chaotic. Your mind, your thoughts, your perspective, these are your most powerful tools. Guard them fiercely, train them daily. And when the storms of life inevitably come, you will stand strong, knowing that no matter what happens, your peace remains untouchable. In the end, this is the gift of Stoicism, the ability to live with calm, clarity, and strength, no matter what life brings, to wake up each day with gratitude for the present, to meet challenges with courage, and to build a mind so strong that it becomes unshakable. Because while the world around you may change, your mind, your fortress, remains yours to command. Have you ever found yourself on a quiet evening, staring at the ceiling as your mind swirls with a storm of thoughts you can't seem to calm? Perhaps it's the weight of a missed opportunity, the sting of someone's words, or the lingering worry about a future you can't predict. Life, in its chaotic beauty, has a way of pulling us into these turbulent waves, leaving us gasping for air as we try to find clarity. Yet there is wisdom, ancient and enduring, that can serve as a lighthouse to guide us back to calm shores. This wisdom comes from the Stoics, philosophers who knew what it meant to face hardship and rise above it, not by changing the external world, but by mastering their minds. One of them, Marcus Aurelius, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The power of these words is profound, not because they offer a quick fix, but because they remind us of an eternal truth. peace is not found by bending the world to our will, but by transforming how we respond to it. Think about the last time life threw a curveball at you. Maybe it was a cancelled plan you had been looking forward to, a traffic jam on an important day, or a hurtful comment that left a mark. These moments, small as they may seem, often dictate the way we feel. We tell ourselves stories. This ruined everything. They don't respect me. Nothing ever goes right. But here's a thought to consider. What if you could rewrite those stories? What if, instead of being pulled into frustration, you could step back and see things differently? The Stoics teach us that most of life falls into two categories: things we can control and things we can't. This is the foundation of their philosophy. Imagine a man sailing across the sea when a sudden storm strikes. He cannot stop the winds or calm the waves, but he can adjust his sails, steer his ship, and decide how he will face the challenge. Life is no different. You can't control the weather, but you can choose your reaction to it. You can't control someone else's opinion, but you can control how much power you give their words. This realization alone is transformative. It frees us from the need to control everything, replacing resistance with acceptance and chaos with calm. When you begin to see life this way, a new kind of strength arises within you, one that is steady and unshakable. Let's take a moment to reflect on something. How often have you let one small event ruin an entire day? Maybe someone cut you off on the road, or you spilled coffee on your shirt. Your initial reaction might have been anger or frustration, and for hours that moment clung to you like a shadow, coloring everything else. But what if in that moment you asked yourself a simple question: will this matter in 5 years? This question is deceptively simple yet incredibly powerful. It puts things into perspective, stripping away the false importance we often give to fleeting annoyances. Most of the time the answer will be no. The traffic jam won't matter in 5 years. The spilled coffee won't even matter tomorrow. But the way you responded, that's what will shape your day, your relationships, and ultimately your life. Because every reaction, every thought is like a seed. You are planting habits that will grow over time, shaping who you become. That's where the practice of thinking before acting comes in. It sounds easy, doesn't it? But in the heat of the moment, when emotions run high, it can feel like you're being carried by a current you can't fight. Picture this. You receive a message that upsets you. Your first instinct might be to fire off a quick reply, sharp, defensive, meant to hurt as much as you feel hurt. But what if you paused? What if you gave yourself just a few breaths, a few seconds to step back? Why does this bother me, you might ask? Am I reacting to this message or to something deeper, an insecurity, an old wound, a fear? When you stop and think, you give yourself space to choose a response rather than react impulsively. You might find that the situation doesn't deserve your anger, or that there's a kinder, more constructive way to address it. This pause, this moment of reflection, is where your power lies. It's where you regain control over your emotions, over your mind. Instead of being swept away, you become the calm in the storm. But Stoicism is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding them, observing them like a scientist would, and then deciding what to do with them. The Stoics believed in the power of dispassion, not as a cold detachment, but as a way to remain steady in the face of life's highs and lows. Imagine watching a movie. You feel for the characters, don't you? You cry when they cry. You cheer for their victories. But deep down, you know it's a story. You are engaged, yet detached. Life, the Stoics tell us, is much the same. When something happens, a loss, a rejection, a disappointment, you can feel it. You can acknowledge the hurt, the sadness, the anger, but you don't have to be consumed by it. You can observe those emotions and let them pass, like clouds drifting across the sky, because no feeling, no matter how strong, is permanent. And when you learn to hold your emotions lightly rather than tightly, you gain the freedom to navigate life with grace. Consider this. Everything changes. Seasons shift, people come and go, circumstances evolve. Nothing in life is static, and yet we resist change as though it were our enemy. We cling to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves us, because the unknown feels frightening. But what if, instead of fearing change, we embraced it? What if we saw it not as a loss, but as an opportunity for growth? Think about the most difficult moments in your life, the times you thought you'd never get through. Looking back, can you see how those moments shaped you? How they forced you to grow, to adapt, to discover strengths you didn't know you had? Life's storms, as painful as they may be, often carry hidden gifts. They teach us resilience. They strip away what is unnecessary, revealing what truly matters. And they remind us that nothing, neither joy nor pain, lasts forever. This impermanence can feel unsettling at first, but it is also a gift. It teaches us to appreciate the present moment, to savor the laughter of a loved one, the beauty of a sunset, the simple pleasure of a quiet morning. When we remember that everything is temporary, we stop taking life for granted. We become more present, more alive. And in this awareness, gratitude blooms. Gratitude is perhaps one of the most powerful tools we have for transforming our mindset. It shifts our focus from what is missing to what is abundant. It teaches us to see the beauty in small things, the warmth of the sun, the sound of rain, the kindness of a stranger. Even in hardship, gratitude can be a light. It doesn't erase the pain, but it reminds us that there is still good, still hope, still love. Every day you have a choice. You can focus on the problems, or you can focus on the blessings. You can dwell on what you can't control, or you can take action on what you can. You can react to life's storms with anger and resistance, or you can meet them with calm and courage. This is the essence of Stoicism. It is not a philosophy for the few. It is a guide for anyone seeking peace in a world of chaos. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. And as you begin to master your mind, to observe your thoughts, to pause before reacting, to accept what you cannot change and act on what you can, you will discover a strength you never knew you had. You will become, as the Stoics believed, like a ship with steady sails, capable of navigating even the roughest seas. And in that steadiness, you will find peace. Imagine a moment when everything around you feels chaotic, a heated argument, a pile of unfinished work, or even a disappointment you didn't see coming. Your heart races, your mind spirals, and emotions seem to take over before you can even process what's happening. It's in these very moments that Stoicism offers a lifeline, a simple yet profound reminder. You are not your emotions. You experience them, you feel them, but you are not defined by them. They are like waves crashing on the shore, but the shore remains unmoved. The Stoics believed in the practice of observing emotions rather than being controlled by them. Picture yourself standing on the bank of a river, watching the water flow. Some parts of the river are calm and still, others are turbulent, rushing with force. Your thoughts and feelings are like that river. When anger, fear, or sadness arises, imagine stepping back to observe them. Instead of being carried away by the current, you simply watch. Why am I feeling this? You ask. What triggered this response? Is it worth giving my peace away for this? By asking these questions, you create space between yourself and your emotions. That space gives you clarity. It allows you to choose your response instead of reacting instinctively. This ability to step back and observe is one of the greatest strengths you can cultivate. The Stoics often spoke of the importance of reason, a calm, deliberate mind that acts as a guide when emotions threaten to take over. It doesn't mean you suppress your feelings, it means you hold them with care, understanding their nature but refusing to let them steer your ship. This practice becomes even more powerful when you pair it with reflection. Journaling, as the Stoics did, can help you process the events of the day and understand your emotions more clearly. Imagine sitting down at the end of the evening, writing about what happened and how you responded. What made me angry today? Was that anger justified, or was it a reaction to something deeper? How could I respond differently next time?